In a stunning revolution, your news anchor Shamim Kiza. Thank you for joining me on U24 News Flash Hour. On March 31st, 2025, Uganda's electricity distribution landscape underwent a historic transformation as Umeme Limited totally transferred its assets to the state-owned Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited. The handover ceremony held at Umeme's Lugogo office in Kampala marked the end of a 20-year private concession and the beginning of a new era of state-managed power distribution. Umeme's 20-year concession, which began in 2005, has been a cornerstone of Uganda's effort to reform its energy sector and activate private investment. During the period, the company played a pivotal role in expanding electricity access from a mere 12% to 50% of the population, connecting millions of Ugandans to the grid for the first time. However, the concession was not without controversy, with persistent complaints about high electricity tariffs and service interruptions, and the decision not to renew Umeme's contracts reflects the government's desire to regain control over the critical infrastructure and the public address concerns.
So can I request that we allow, plus of course the fourth estate, can I also acknowledge that we are not only live on UBC, we are live on NBS and also live streaming on YouTube. We thank you so much, the fourth estate, for the support as we get ready to hand over. I'll guide once again. For the official handover, we need Umeme, the board chair and CEO, who will hand over to the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, represented by the Minister herself, the Minister of State for Energy, Honorable Okasai Opolot, the Permanent Secretary, Engineer Irene Batebe. The Minister of Energy will hand over to the regulator, represented by the board chair and CEO. The regulator will hand over to UEDCL, represented by the board chair and CEO. We thank you once again. Once again, I acknowledge all the sector players, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, the generator, UEGCL, the transmitter, UETCL, the distributor, of course, taking over, the regulator, all the sector players, the Auditor General's Office, Ministry of Finance, of course, the fourth estate, who have all the Umeme staff, who have I left behind. I acknowledge and I appreciate the support and your presence today, braving this morning after the Eid celebrations. We are most grateful. Over to you, Jonan. Jonan is still arranging the team at the red carpet. Thank you.
Side. Yeah, the minister. But I would can go the other side.
By virtue of entrusted to me by the Electricity Act, I now hand over these symbolic items to Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited from the Honorable Minister, who received it from the private player, Umeme, who has been running the sector for the last 20 years, UEDCL. So all these gadgets, effective from midnight tonight, use them to run the sector efficiently and make sure there is financial viability.
The East African Community and the Southern African Development Community have substantially restructured the Joint Mediation Initiative for the Democratic Republic of Congo conflict, expanding the panel of negotiators and enhancing its regional representation. Following Monday's VATO summit, the two influential regional organizations increased the mediation team from 3 to 5 members, appointing additional former heads of state to strengthen peace efforts between DRC, Rwanda, and the M23 rebels. The expanded panels aim to improve gender, regional and language inclusivity, according to the post-meeting communique.
The team of mediators for the Congo conflict following a virtual meeting on Monday. The two blocs doubled down on their efforts to bring peace between DR Congo, the M23 rebels, and Rwanda by appointing additional former heads of states to steer the mediations. Former Kenya President Uhuru Kenyatta and ex-Nigeria President Olusegun Obasanjo remain on the team, while former Ethiopian President Saleh Zewde replaces another ex-Ethiopian leader Haile Mariam Desalegn. Former South Africa President Galema Motlanthe and ex-Central African Republic President Catherine Samba-Panza were also added to the group. The move comes after Angola, through its presidency, stepped aside from the negotiations on Monday, citing other engagements on its mandate as the head of the African Union. In a statement, Angola said it had recognized the need to shift its focus to broader continental priorities, including peace, infrastructure, economic development, and justice for Africans. The negotiations also faced a setback Monday after the M23 went back on a pledge when they decided to withdraw from Walikale, another town they seize in the east of DRC.
Uganda has finally signed an implementation agreement for the construction of the crude oil refinery in Hoima district, a project that President Museveni described as a crucial step for the country's industrial transformation. This agreement, signed by the Energy Minister Ruth Nankabirwa on behalf of the government, formalizes Uganda's partnership with Alpha MBM Investment LLC, a company based in United Arab Emirates, to develop the 60,000 barrels per day facility. President Museveni, who witnessed the signing, praised the involvement of the UAE investors, particularly Sheikh Mohammed bin Maktoum, a member of the Emirati royal family. And he further added, the refinery is not just about fuel, but also about Uganda producing and exporting refined products instead of importing them.
The signing of the 60,000 barrel per day crude oil refinery deal was witnessed by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni at State House Entebbe. It marks a major milestone in Uganda's journey toward energy independence and industrialization.
You people work with them because they are bringing investment. They are not bringing loans. They are coming to invest. Why do you have any problem when you spend days and 3.5 years? The money is very polite. Oh, thank you very much. After 3 years, really we have worked hard. Worked hard. This is Arab politeness.
President Museveni, who praised the United Arab Emirates investors for their enterprising spirit, warned government officials against frustrating investors with bureaucratic delays.
It is really not good for the servants of Uganda to not know what to do. Because what these people are proposing is very clear. I don't know why it would even take 2 days to determine. Fortunately, the National Resistance Movement is here. And if you don't move, the NRM will move.
As long as I'm here, I considered myself Ugandan always, and I will stay always Ugandan. I'm doing it for the nation, I'm doing it for the people, I'm doing it to support the community over here. I'm doing it. My happiness is people smile. My happiness is to see the people live better life. That's what I'm looking for. Me and my team. Again, I would first of all appreciate and thanks Your Excellency.
Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, described the new development as an initiative that will not only enhance Uganda's energy security, but also catalyze economic transformation.
Since we are not going to export the 60,000 barrels of crude oil, that means there will be a balance of payments impact of $591 million US per annum. Of course, the general fiscal impact is expected to be $804 million US per annum. That is the project that the President has been pursuing, and I would like to thank you sincerely for your guidance, sir.
The refinery project will fully comply with international environmental, health and safety standards, integrating modern technologies to minimize environmental impact.
Uganda is going to use its money from you, the taxpayers, to facilitate this facility, the refinery and the related facilities that have raised by 40%.
Besides the oil deal, Uganda and the UAE investors also signed 5 other agreements in various sectors, including the aviation sector, tree planting, a digital land management system, logistics cargo hubs and storage chain facilities, a comprehensive digital payment system for government transactions, streamlining tax collections and financial services, and others.
Uganda Wildlife Authority has signed 3 major concession agreements with private investors to develop the managed high-end tourism infrastructures in Machijin Falls, Queen Elizabeth and Chidepo Valley National Parks. The deal, worth 104.3 billion Ugandan shillings, approximately to 28.5 million US dollars, will see Chinese Tiantang Group develop a glass bridge and a 50-seater restaurant at the top of the falls in Machijin Falls National Game Park.
That business enterprise has signed a 20-year concession to develop and manage a 50-seater restaurant on a 2-acre piece of land at the top of the falls.
Now we have them going to do for us a bridge over the Nile, glass bridge, and with it will be a restaurant for the visitors to the glass bridge. And our prayer is that immediately we sign, they start the processes.
Today, we sign for glass bridge in Machijin Falls. I'm in this country only 23 years. Before, black, now green, like chairman. I'm spending my life, my time, everything in this country.
And in conclusion, because I know you people have to succeed, the investors, please, if you feel there is anything else we can do, we are open to ideas. You might want to grow your numbers from the Chinese community in China. And we think as a ministry, maybe there are some things we could do better to grow your volume so that you succeed in your business. Be it even our other local partners, we are open to these ideas.
Other key concessions include Cargo Bed Holdings, taking over the operations of Jacana Safari Lodge at the Queen Elizabeth National Park. The site will operate under the Serena brand upon completion of the Memorandum of Understanding. Russell Hall Limited signed an agreement with Uganda Wildlife Authority to establish a high-end lodge at Upper Losigeria in the Chidepo Valley National Park.
I know that government is investing in infrastructure. In Chidepo, there is someone putting up a big airport. I think they've started by road diversion. And once the airport is up and running, definitely that will also grow our traffic numbers.
You've chosen to go to Machijin Falls. You've chosen to go to Queen Elizabeth National Park. You've chosen to go to Chidepo Valley National Park. All these are very sensitive ecosystems, very important for conservation of biodiversity, but very important for our development as a nation.
The government of South Sudan faction led by President Salva Kiir accused the parallel armed First Vice President Dr. Riek Machar of plotting a rebellion to destabilize the country. On Friday, the Minister of Information under Kiir, Michael Makeyu, said intelligence reports pinned Machar, who was placed under house arrest on Wednesday for mobilizing his SPLA-IO forces to cause mayhem. Since the beginning of March 2025, and according to the intelligence and security reports, Dr. Riek Machar, the first vice president of the Republican of South Sudan, chairman and C-in-C of the SPLA, had been in contact with their bases on the ground and specifically with the politicians and commanders, agitating them to rebel against the government with the aim of disrupting peace so that elections are not held and South Sudan goes back to war.
NAS Defense Forces, 1, attack and overrun Nasser garrison. Number 2, the SPLM-AIO continue to mobilize and preach hate speech, hatred, and tribalism in the name of protecting the Northland. The Northland, which means the land of the Nuer, or the Nuer land. Dr. Ariagan, instead of directing his forces to withdraw, he directed them to attack Nasser garrison, and as a result, Nasser garrison was captured in the morning of the 4th of March. This is to inform you that the Vice President is under house arrest and he will be investigated. The outcome of the investigation will be known to you. The President did this in order to save the agreement. All these efforts which are being exerted and all these games which were being played around are games which are meant to derail the agreement. There are events, all that took place is to ensure that the agreement does not go ahead, that the agreement collapses, so that we don't go for elections.
On March 26, 2025, our leader, Dr. Riek Machar Durgon, the chairman and commander-in-chief of the SPLM-IO, was arrested. And this followed the arrest of some of our political military leaders. This situation created a political and military situations that jeopardized the agreement in the country. And the reason why we are asking for his release is the same reason that we don't know why he's under detention. Constitutionally and legally, any of us as citizens of South Sudan can be detained, but there must be a due process of law. All of our cadres who have been detained should be subjected to the procedural law.
Thank you for watching U24 News Flash Hour. I'm Shamim.